You want to know the dirty little secret with your collection agency? Unless your balances are over $1,500, then they're getting cherry picked. That's right, the average balance turned over to a collection agency is $1,543 last year. What that means is that all your $1 and $2 and $300 balances really just don't show up on their radar. So of all the money you send over to them, only so many of them are actually being contacted. Only about 5 or 10% of the money is being collected, and then of course they want a big third of what they collect. If we put some real numbers to it, it looks like this. Let's say you turn over $10,000 for one of your doctors. Let's say on the high side, 10% of that money comes in. That's $1,000 collected. They want 30% of that. That's $300. So that means there's $700 out of 10,000. There's got to be a better way. Let me show you what we call flat fee collections. So you've got the same numbers over here to your left. $10,000 submitted, 10% collected, all the way down. Let me show you a different way called a flat fee collection agency, where every single account is contacted, not just once, but at least 5 times in a 60-day period. So let's say that $10,000 broke down into 50 $200 balances, which is about the average for most doctors. Recovery rate on average is about 40%. Total collected now is $4,000. The agency charges about $10, $11 per account, so the total fees is $500. Look at the net back to practice. Do you want $700 back, or do you want $3,500 back? So a new strategy with your collection agency. Why not use an agency that automates the entire process so that everyone is contacted and they do it for a flat fee? Benefit: 5 times the recovery rate for a fraction of the ultimate cost. This is what we call the Transworld effect. It's the difference between what we call soft and hard collections, or the percentage-based versus the flat fee-based. You can see all the way over to your right in the black there, the hardball agencies tend to bring in about 5 to 10% of the money. On the high end, you can find some averages around 9.7%. Look in the green, what we call soft collections. This is what Transworld does. These are our national averages. So in orthopedics, 38%, neurology, 46%, pediatrics there on the end, 55%. We're literally bringing in 3 to 5 times as much money as the hardball collection agencies, and we do it for a fraction of the cost. Let me give you a quick introduction to Transworld Systems if you've never heard of us. Been around 40 plus years. We have a very unique AR toolbox. We integrate with most of the major practice management systems out there. Of course, the problem today is that many patients aren't paying their portion. Our premise is that people have money, they're just not prioritizing their medical bills. It even gets worse because your collection agency is cherry picking accounts. Our solution: just automate the entire back end process and do it for a flat fee. But if you want to collect more, then you'll need to do more than just automate. Let me give you 3 best practices that go along with flat fee collections. First of all is the idea that's pretty intuitive, but time is not on your side, right? The longer and longer you wait to get serious, the less likely you are to get paid. The big conclusion here is you can't wait until 90 or 120 days to turn accounts over anymore. You've got to speed it up. The second big idea is which squeaky wheel gets paid first. Prompting them just once a month, 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, just statement after statement, maybe a past due letter or 2, or prompting them once a week. Why not join the competition for payment? Because there's all these other vendors that get relegated to the second stack of bills just like you, and they get paid first. The plumber, the lawn boy, the electrician, they're all getting paid because they're asking for their money more frequently. The fourth big idea is what we call the 4 kinds of payers. Let me slow down on this one and explain what I mean. We learned that there are 4 different kinds of patient payers. So it follows there's different kind of stimuli to get each kind to pay their bill. And all that ultimately works out into what we call the 4-stage escalated approach to collections. So let me explain. The first kind of payer is what we call the dutiful. We love these folks. Just have the RCM send them a bill. They're great. They'll probably pay it. Bucket number 2 is what we'll call the distracted. We like these folks as well. They just kind of have a messy personality type. They probably show up to their appointment late, probably pay their bills late, and they need some squeaky reminders, so to speak. And this is where the RCM team sends out friendly reminders or some kind of past due letter, preferably around day 31, day 45, again, bumping up their frequency so that they're being contacted every 2 weeks. There's a third group, which is where we get involved. This is what's called the disrespectful. These are the folks that know they owe, they just don't care. You're a medical bill, and so you're relegated to the bottom of the second stack. This is where they need to hear those three magic words: licensed collection agency. Nobody needs to play hardball. Nobody needs to play a percentage. That's why we call it soft collections. We recommend this starts at about day 60, day 90, somewhere in there. Again, the longer you wait, the less likely you'll see any money. Finally, you have what we call the deliberate. These are the folks that ignored your bill, friendly reminders, even collection demands. So at this point, we need to do live collections where we get a professional on the phone to do skip tracing, asset discovery, etc., etc. And this typically starts at about day 120, day 150. And this is like your typical collection agency. It's free unless we collect. And then there's a percentage, typically a 50-50 split. The reason it's more expensive than the 30% agencies is frankly because we've already gotten all the easy money. Only thing left at this point is the hardest money to collect. And frankly, I'm going to tell you, you probably should just write the money off. If we collect a dime, we'll both get a nickel. So if you look back over this again, if you look at the top right, think about it like this. Phase 1 is billing. Phase 2 is pre-collections. Phase 3 is soft collections. Phase 4 is hard collections. Does that make sense? The 4-stage escalated approach. We want to give patients every opportunity to pay before we get a little bit tougher. Okay, so when you put all that together, here's the RCM plus Transworld best practices workflow using the 4-stage escalated approach. So phase 1 is you're going to send a bill using RCM on day 1, just like you would now. Here's a change though. You're going to send reminders using RCM, but instead of doing letters, those friendly reminder letters every month the way they do them, you want to squeeze that down. If you remember the thing about the frequency, you want those going out about every week, every 15 days, something like that. So day 31 and day 45 would be those 2 friendly reminders. If they still don't pay, then we move to phase 3, which is sending the collection demands using profit recovery. That's going to be at 60 days. That's where Transworld comes in. That's the 60-day process. And if they still don't pay for those last few stragglers, we're going to get intensive using verbal, legal collections or hard collections, live collections, whatever you want to call it, at 120 days. So that's the new routine. And if this looks good to you, then I'll send you an email to forward to your RCM rep to get this new timeline set up so that they know to send a bill on day 1, send reminders on day 31 and 45, then say those 3 magic words, licensed collection agency, on day 60, and then we'll start live collections on day 120. So what do real world admins say about all this? Why are we #1 in the marketplace? Here's Sherry Grill over at Thompsonville Family. I'm very pleased with their result. I like their soft touch collection methods. I would highly recommend Transworld. Linda Strong says, Transworld's been the best agency I've dealt with in my 32 years of medical billing. Our billing person is happy not having to make calls to patients anymore. She spends her time on larger issues now, which is very helpful to us. I absolutely love Transworld, Michelle says over at Deseret Family. So I'm curious, what do you think about this? Is this something you like? Is this something you would like to try out? If you have any questions, just email brad.mcdaniel@transworldsystems.com. We look forward to working with you.